This probably ain't gonna look good, but I gotta get a message across. So, we filmed video for this podcast for YouTube, but the OBS, which I had never used OBS before, actually ended up not really working too well. It put us kind of at the very bottom of the screen, and it cut Jay off completely, almost, and it cut me off a lot. So I decided to forget the video. You're going to kind of see a stagnant photo, but when I can put video stuff in, I'm going to put some video clips in. Like we talk about KennyKon, you'll probably see bits of the vlog, or maybe even the entire vlog, just as we're talking about it, just so you have something to watch. But if you feel like you just want to listen to it, go listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, I think, has it. My podcast, I think I put it on there. But anyway, you can listen to a podcast, go listen to it there. And yeah, enjoy this hilarious episode with Jay from InsaneCoasterJunkie. Welcome to the ThrillStop podcast with your host, Coaster Colton. From park trips to special guests, this is your podcast for all things theme parks.
Now get ready, here we go.
Hello, and welcome to the ThrillStop podcast, episode 2 of the new season of this new chapter of the podcast. I am here today with a very special guest, Jay from InsaneCoasterJunkie. Dude, how you doing?
What is up, Red fans? How are you doing out there in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, Mama?
Yes, I am in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. Jay, you doing alright, man?
Yeah, I'm doing alright. It's been, actually the day we're recording this, we just got done recording my future episode of my podcast, so round 2.
Yes, we recorded his episode.
Our voices are strained, but hey, we're gonna do it.
We had a lot of fun. We just recorded an over an hour long podcast episode, and this one might go for just as long. We'll see. So, Jay, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people who you are if they're not aware.
I can steal the dance floor here. So, for those who are unfamiliar, Blackstone is a section of track. Let's cut to the chase here. So, my name is Jay. I'm now a production assistant at Jet 24, our ABC affiliate station here in Erie, Pennsylvania. Home park is Waldemere in this case. So, fantastic family-owned park, but in terms of me, I operate a YouTube channel called InsaneCoasterJunkie. I've been operating YouTube since November 2014, and I basically travel the parks, whatnot, in my spare time. I'm a former janitor/ride-op at Waldemere, so I'm sure he has some questions about that. I can answer whatever I can. And so, again, I'm a production assistant. I have my own podcast, Right on Track, so links on YouTube for you YouTube users. You can follow Spotify. That's where I'm at. I'm old school, so I'm not on Apple or any of that crap. My Instagram is Zemanek, which is just my name. I don't really have a fancy dedicated page, but I do post all my trip reports there, my short form reel content in 60 seconds for my trip. So that's probably your best bet to connect with me or see what park I'm at.
Heck yeah.
Other than that, I'm just a
guys, go follow his
living
Instagram.
room boy.
His Instagram, we all post on Instagram a lot more than YouTube, it seems, especially myself. So
I'm more of YouTube than Insta, but
that's true. Yeah, make sure you get on the socials. So, enough being said, Jay, thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
So, we're going to start in a similar way that you started with me. So, I've heard the story, and if you actually go to his podcast, you can hear the story. But
yeah, I actually have a whole episode on this one.
You can tell it here first. When and why did you become an enthusiast?
Okay, so this is going to be an abridged version of episode 1 of my podcast, so bear with me here. So I'm a little older than you, so we're going to go way back to the early 2000s here, to Splash Lagoon's opening day, our indoor water park here in 2003. And I was super afraid of everything, but my mom insisted me, try these slides out. And I was throwing a tantrum. Failed to mention I'm on the autism spectrum, so things can be a little overwhelming, overstimulating, and I'm like, I can't do this, I can't do this. Somehow, I get on the little kiddie slide there in their kiddie pool, and I'm like, let's do it again! So, I mean, it's a water slide. Give credit where it's due. Hooked. I mean, I went to Splash Lagoon for trips with the family, and then Waldamir's my home park, so I rode the kiddie rides and whatnot. My first coaster was Ravine Flyer 3 in 2005. I have pictures of it, so I can tell you the earliest I've actually ridden a coaster is actually 20 years ago this year. Funny enough, huh?
Man, yeah, it's crazy.
So, in terms of like actually getting into enthusiast, I'm gonna have to actually fast forward through the deadlock to 2014 actually, and it was that summer. My older sister and my cousin were trying to force me on Ravine Flyer 2, or large gravity group wooden coaster, and I was super afraid of that thing. That thing was intimidating. I'm like, F this, I can't do this. And then one day, I remember the exact date. We autistics are very good with numbers and memories. June 22nd, 2014 was the day I decided to ride Ravine Flyer 2 for the first time. It also answered probably a potential sub-question, what is the coaster that got you into an enthusiast? Both. Ravine Flyer 2 was the one. After that first ride, I was hooked. Told my sister and cousin, I'm like, look, I rode this ride for the first time. I did it, hell yeah. And they're like, prove it. So I rode it again. And by that point, I was absolutely hooked with coasters. I wanted to find out. I mean, I've been inspired by other YouTubers. I'll answer that in a different question. But I basically ended up making a YouTube channel my 8th grade year. It was known as Cedar Talent 15 at the time, and then eventually InsaneCoasterJunkie in October 2016, which is the name I still go by to this day. And now I have a portfolio of 145 roller coasters across 25 parks across the United States and Canada. I have some of the best parks in the country, like Cedar Point, Hershey Park, Universal, and some of the shit parks, let's just say Conneaut Lake Park and whatnot. But I have a nice repertoire of parks that put me as an enthusiast. And that's the abridged version. If you want to see the full version of the story, detail by detail, year by year, go watch the podcast episode. But that's your short version.
His first episode is absolutely incredible. He goes into a lot of detail into his journey. I also told an abridged version on his podcast of mine. I'll have to make a whole episode dedicated to my full experience because mine is also very interesting. As you said, you started your channel Cedar Talent 15, right?
Yeah, it was a combination of Cedar Point and Metallica.
Yes. What pushed you to YouTube, I wonder?
Okay, so this is a good question because I was about to slip this up a little bit, so my apologies.
You're good. You're good.
Talk about YouTube aesthetics because when I started YouTube, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I just basically did a bunch of random like, hey, let's do a gaming video. Hey, let's do this. And I didn't know what to do at the time. When I started the channel, like when I got my tablet, I was 15 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. But there were a key couple of YouTubers of mine. I mean, one of them is probably our Lord and Savior, Taylor Bybee.
Taylor Bybee.
In this point.
He's probably on the Mount Rushmore. We'll get to that later. The Mount
Rushmore.
Yeah,
he's basically George Washington.
No, that's Rob Alvey. That's Theme Park Review right there. That's Theme Park Review is George Washington. For
Rob
sure.
Alvey, that was another one. That was another one, yeah.
We'll get to that later.
As you want, but I enjoy Rob Alvey's POVs, Coaster Force, and whatnot. I'm like, if they can do it, I can too. I didn't end up doing this video until much later, but my original concept of a video was Waldemir versus Knoebels. You know, remember how park battles used to be a thing back in the day?
Yeah, park battles. Oh, those were kind of dumb videos, in all honesty. Like,
yeah, they're kind of stupid now, but when Taylor did a video like that, I'm like, I want to do Waldemir versus Knoebels. That video, I didn't do that until much later, but that's kind of where it started. But my actual first video, long deleted, is Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. I was really into that game.
Yes.
Back in the day. I'd make these coasters on the old rink-a-dink laptop my family had. And I just uploaded them to YouTube. And that came with modest success. And I did gaming too for a while. I'm like, do I really want to do that? But I switched fully to coasters with around 2017. Fully. That's kind of where my niche is. And YouTubers, if you want to ask YouTubers these days, I'm sure you could add some of this, but my modern inspirations today are, at least in the coaster YouTube universe, are El Toro Ryan,
yes,
Enemy Coaster, Airtime Thrills.
Yes. Definitely. And we're going to segue into that topic, actually. I mentioned a second ago. Okay, what is your Mount Rushmore of coaster content creators. You can't put yourself or myself on there unless you really feel the need to.
I mean, if you want to put the local group here, it's me, you, Colton, and
me and
someone
Colton?
else.
Me and Colton? Who the hell is the other Colton?
Oh my god, you were the same person. Damn it.
You, me,
Alright,
Colton.
let's start over here. Let's start over here. So, Mount
Local.
Rushmore coaster YouTubers. I'm probably going to say Taylor Bybee, Rob Alvey, Sean Flaherty,
Yeah.
and East Coaster General.
That's a pull. I was saying Altor Ryan. I was thinking you should go for
No,
Ryan.
I'm talking about like the founding fathers.
Oh, founding fathers. Yeah, definitely. Then yeah, East Coaster General.
Yeah, that like you know how Mount Rushmore is like the classic presidents and whatnot. That's what
Yeah.
But now is like the classic Mount Rushmore. Taylor, all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, how about the local? No, not local. We'll do this first. How about the new?
Like modern.
New age. Yeah.
Probably Micah Canopy Coaster, Ryan of Altor Ryan, Chris of Airtime Thrill, and Peter of Theme Park Crazy.
Ah, yes. But I say Bybee comments go on there too because he's still kicking. You know, he's still doing his thing.
I mean, not what it used to be, but I'm glad channels 10 plus years in are still having success, and that's all that really matters.
And what about the not necessarily local? What about like I guess you can say local Mount Rushmore creators, like the smaller creators.
Oh, the smaller content creators. Oh shit, this one's a hard one because
you're on that list. You're
I'm
definitely
subscribed
on there.
to a lot of channels here, and it can get rather difficult to digest that.
I'd say
so. I'm probably
you Coaster Dash.
Oh, Coaster Dash. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah,
I met him once.
Yeah, shout out to Mark if you're listening. I want him on the podcast so bad. He does his own podcast actually. I want him on my podcast.
Oh, yeah, I think that was the end of Coaster Enthusiast shouting out channel hour.
we had a little shout out session there for a little bit. So
yeah, that's kind of our friendship. We kind of get into tangents, but it's all for good fun.
It's all for good fun. It's all for good fun, yeah. All right, so now this is another question. So this one can also be a little controversial, especially in the, like, if you ask an old-timer enthusiast this question, this one can definitely get controversial.
What the hell? Are you calling me an old-timer now?
You're not an old-timer, but I'm talking like, if you ask the guys that have been around since like the 80s, this one gets a little controversial.
I mean,
here.
I'm born in 2000, but still, I'm kind of saying I'm past my prime.
Yeah. So, do you prefer wood or steel roller coasters?
Okay, this one's a tough one. Shit, I'm gonna have to think about this one because there's pros and cons with both.
You can put up a good argument for
and,
both. Good argument.
I mean, I'm gonna be frank here. I've ridden more shit wooden coasters than steel. I'm just going to say that, because wooden coasters, I struggle to find the good in them. And part of it's because I have RF2 in my backyard.
Yeah.
Literally. So it kind of spoils it, and that's kind of sad. I mean, I'll talk about why Erie's such a good place for parks, but I have RF2, and it kind of spoils it. I used to have Blue Streak at Connie at Lake Park, that ill-fated thing. That was a great backup, but what's outside of that? Phoenix? And Phoenix is controversial out of itself. I mentioned it in my podcast, but...
The Beast.
We are not going through this again. We are not going through this again.
The Beast is...
No, we are not going through this again. Here's a fun one. Mind Blower.
Ah, yeah. I've heard it's rough as hell, though. I've heard
rough as hell. Steel Track is incredible. But here's another controversial one. This is, ironically, my third favorite wooden coaster. I never really share this. But if there's a guilty pleasure wooden coaster I enjoy, and then I'll get to the steels, Predator at Darien Lake.
Ah, yes. Looks good. Definitely looks good.
That thing used to be... If you've seen POVs like pre-COVID, it was an awful ride. And in 2017, I swore to never ride it again. But in 2022, they started putting GCI Titan Track on it. And actually, almost half of the layout has Titan Track now. And that ride is a top 20 coaster now.
Oh, really?
It's got airtime where it previously did it. It's much smoother. It's more intense. I got my best ride ever on that thing in October during Fright Fest in the front row. Yeah, you could technically call it a hybrid coaster at that point, but kind of like the whole lightning rod treatment.
Yeah.
It's still a damn good ride.
Now,
steel coasters, I much prefer, though. Because steel coasters, there's a lot more things you can do. You can bend them a little bit more than wood. I mean, yeah, there's wooden coasters with inversions. I did say Mind Blower. But
Outlaw
steel,
Run.
you can. It's a lot more flexible. There's a lot more variety you can do. You can do outer bank turns. You can do wave turns. You can do inversions. You can do steep, like beyond vertical drops. You can launch them, lightning rod. You can put steel track on wooden track. I mean, you can do so much things with them. I mean, if we're looking at a comprehensive top 10 here, this will really outweigh if I prefer wood to steel. Where's that list?
What your top 10
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of my top 10 coasters are steel. However, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are hybrids.
So it's
like Steel Vengeance, Iron Odyssey, Airy Force, and Wildcat's Revenge. So, in a perfect world, RMC is your king.
But
generally, I do prefer steel coasters because they give a more enjoyable ride experience at the end of the day.
hey, that's respectable.
And looking at the eight, with the 8 coasters on them, there's some pretty damn good ones. Phantom's Revenge is wicked. Millennium Force is a super underrated bigga. Leviathan is one of the hidden gems out there. So even outside the RMCs and the Spoiled Child, there's some pretty good coasters out there. And most of my coaster list is steel. You don't really get to the majority of the wood coasters until the 20s in the ranking.
Yeah.
So
see that
really goes to show something.
Yeah, that works well.
That's what I say.
And that kind of opposes for me, like I told you on your podcast, I'm not really one to rank steel coasters because a lot of times to me, they all kind of do their own same tricks, but wooden coasters have a different feel on their tricks. So like to me, it's like
wooden coasters. I do agree. They have their own character to them. I mean, the ones I've ridden, the good ones I've ridden have character.
Yeah. So.
But here's the funny thing. This is something I failed to mention. All my big marathons have been on wooden coasters. Ravine Flyer 2, 62 rides in a day. Blue Streak, 61. Silver Comet, 55. White Lightning, 39. All my major marathons have been on wooden coasters.
Yeah. That's the thing.
So it's so bent over backwards. So you're probably listening to this episode thinking, what the hell are you saying, Jay? Are you changing your mind? No. It's just that most of the time, wooden coasters.
They're more
once
re-rideable.
I get the feel of a wooden coaster, I'm used to it.
They're more re-rideable. Wooden coasters are more
re-rideable. Yeah, they're more re-rideable because if you have like a super ultra intense E&M invert or something, I gotta tap out after that first ride or two because of the intensity. But wooden coasters, they have their own feel that you can just lap it over and over and over again. So, unfortunately, it's negligible.
Yeah.
Both are all enjoyable.
Yeah. So, we're going to get into more of the parks. We've been talking about coasters. We're going to kind of segue into the actual parks themselves. So, here's kind of a different question, kind of a little bit of a twist on what you had asked me before.
Ooh, and the Mr. Beast twist.
Yeah, kind of. But there's a twist, Boom. You add a sound effect there. Favorite theme park moment that, like, if you told people this story, they'd be like, that was, you enjoyed that? Or, like, that was cool, or they might say, that wasn't really that amazing, like, you know what I mean? Like, you might be like, oh, I did this, it's really cool, and everyone else is like, yeah, what the hell ever. What is that to you?
I try to reasonable expectations out there for a coaster. I mean, yes, I watch POVs before I go, but only because I'm putting in my head a certain opinion. I'm like, I don't want to be overly disappointed or overhype something. I kind of want to match that expectation. And if a coaster blows me away, that's great. I've had plenty of those experiences in my time as an enthusiast. And then there have been times where I've been rather disappointed. There are multiple experiences. I mean, Phoenix is a more pleasant experience. One of my more underwhelming ones is probably Leviathan or something. So I have those. So my advice to any enthusiast who might be watching this podcast, just set a certain expectation and just ride with it. If you think it's just And most of the time, those expectations are met. And if you meet your expectations, then you're planning out your parks well. Because people are like, oh, you've ridden this. Why the hell not? I mean, they'll say that about a coaster. And
or flats. A lot of people are like, why go to a park and then you ride all these flats?
Yeah, flat ride. This is the big offender, because for some people, they can't handle flat rides. I can handle spinning rides to an extent, but not for long periods of time. But there are ones that I deem awesome that people may not.
I will tell you a flat ride. I'm good on spinning flat rides, but there's one I cannot stand. And I should have mentioned this in my last episode. You want to guess what it is? One's a Kennywood.
Ooh.
Not Spinvasion.
It's Invasion.
No. Another one. I can't stand that one either. But there's another one.
Oh, okay. I can pull this from the Factory of Sadness bid. Cosmic Chaos.
Maybe? Oh, no. No, that one's good, too. Hold on. Pull another one out of Factory of Sadness. You went on a whole tangent at the park after we rode this ride because it was so bad.
Arrow?
No. That was a good ride. Arrow's a good ride.
Oh, shoot. I'm going down the line here. I'm trying to remember.
Trying to think if I can
Help me out here, dude.
Tell you something. I'll give you a hint here. Okay, it goes in a circle. I don't know what to tell you to try to help you guess this one.
The hell? That gives me no indication.
Hold on. Okay, Okay, you can try to think. For a second.
I'm stuck.
Okay, give me just a second, and I'll have you something here. Hold on.
You're playing the guessing game here, Bread fans.
I am playing. We are playing guessing game.
Wave Swinger?
Music Express. What the?
Oh, damn it!
Music
You
Express.
were playing Crazy Bitch. I should know this. Oh my god, yes, because Drake and I were so upset by this.
Oh, and I was too. I'm holding on for dear life. I'm like, what the? Like, we can't hold on to the sides. So they'll be like, all right, it's too much lateral. It's too much lateral.
I will say this: go to Waldemere, ride ours, then come back to me.
Oh, okay. What's the difference
I'll just leave
Kennywood's
it at that
then?
because I will say we run one of the fastest Music Express.
What's different than Kennywood's then? Because like,
newer, has airtime, and it's a better ride.
Airtime,
but they don't have the rock music. They play pop. So
well, I forgot what they was playing at Kennywood, but I'm like, yeah, I'll just play Crazy Bitch. It's a good song, you know. I'm seeing Buck Cherry in concert.
That was a curveball. That's like divorced dad rock there.
I'm seeing them in concert later this year.
I can't pinpoint a flat ride, but I will say there's a ride that I can pinpoint I hated that everyone likes. You know this one, and if you're a Bread fan of my channel, you know where this is going. Spider. Waldemere. The original Factory of Sadness.
I'm not big on him. I'm not big on him because you spend half your time sitting in the sky doing nothing. They load like.
I mean, look at the one at Idlewild. It goes in a star formation, a load, and then you get 7 rotations on the ball, and that's it.
Yeah.
Ours is on a timer light, about 1 minute 45 seconds, and we have a much longer cycle.
Yeah, well, you did.
Because Alabama.
Yeah. Bama, baby.
Again,
Bama.
Going back to the whole opinion thing, no matter what type of ride it is, even if it's like a water slide or something, just put your expectations where you think they'll be. Don't be like, oh, this is going to be my #1 coaster. I mean, I'm not going to throw any shade here, but I just saw that when this is being recorded, the Siren's Curse animated POV just came out.
Yeah, today.
And one of my friends said, if the pacing matches the animated POV, it could be my #1 coaster. And I'm like, boy, it is slightly sped up.
Probably.
That is not going to be the pacing. I mean, this was also said about Alpine Fury.
Yeah. Okay, I will say Alpine Fury is going to be good.
You can't match expectations to an animated POV.
I want to see that bitch test cycle first. I want to see that. I want to see that cycle.
Yeah, I want to see it in motion first.
Yeah.
Then when I go to the park, ride it, then make my own.
I'm going to tell you right now. We're in late January. The most underrated, the most slept on new for 2025 coaster is going to be Raptera at King's Dominion. Mark my word. I don't know if it's because I'm going for Media Day, possibly. I'm possibly going for Media Day or something, but like I just when I seen that POV, I'm like, King's Dominion needs that, They've needed that forever. A newer launch coaster and a wing coaster. They got both parts done, and it just looks so good.
Finally, they got their volcano replacement.
It looks so good. Like, I mean, I know I've heard them newer B&Ms kind of shaky, but like, I mean, shaky aside, and of course, we've seen that thing cycle. They're cycling it already. Like, it looks good.
It probably will open in 2 months.
It'll open in March. Yeah, that thing's open in March for sure.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, I would get into it more, but that's classified information for a future question. But I'm not going to either confirm or deny at this moment.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we're kind of heading in the same path when you say that. I'm going to let you go on a little bit of a talk here. So, you worked at Waldameer for 4 seasons, correct?
Correct.
So, you did clean teams, you call it. It's janitorial for 3.
Yep, for 3 years.
And then rides for 1. So, let's mainly stick to the rides because no one wants to hear about you cleaning shitters. So
yeah, I mean, I'll just summarize that. You clean shit and throw up, and just look happy. That's it. I mean, I did a lot of odd jobs too when I was on clean team, which was nice because I got to explore the park in other ways. But due to company policy, even though I'm just gonna announce this here, this is kind of a pseudo announcement. I hate to go on another tangent, but I've decided not to work at Waldameer anymore because I'm focusing my career at Jet. So I'm no longer interested. I mean, I did not leave on bad terms. I have no bad blood or anything. It's just my career is now a priority.
Yeah.
But even though I'm not working there anymore, I'm still going to keep a low profile because I follow pretty much everybody, all the upper management, and I'm good friends with them. And I do not want to leak information that may be compromised. So I'm going to be very careful in this section about rides, but not. So bear with me. But there are things I can tell.
Mainly, the question I want to focus on here is like, what rides did you operate, and like, did you enjoy them, and like, how do they work differently than you think? If you can talk about how they operate a little bit.
That I can explain because I have history of all of these. So I've operated a total of 6 rides in my time in the rides department. Technically, my first ride I operated was in 2021 when I first started because one of the people was late to operate Pirates Cove, which is our fun house. And I don't know if you really call it a ride. It's just you sitting there and counting people. So, but I make it fun. I mean, this year I made it like a fictional storyline about drunken sailors of Robot Pirate Island. You remember that one SpongeBob episode? You know where I'm going.
I didn't watch
Idiot
SpongeBob.
Box. But Pirates Cove, there's not much that I could talk about because, well, you just count people. Closing the ride at night is weird because, well, I turn everything off and it feels like everything's going to pop out at you at night. And then it's just like one big creepypasta. So, Pirates Cove, get that out of here. X-Scream was my next ride I learned. I actually learned that my last year at Clean Team for brakes. The simple drop, and that ride was a lot simpler than I realized because you look, and this can go for any ride you operate at a park. You look at the control panel and you're like, holy shit, there's so many buttons on here. I'm overwhelmed.
Half of them you don't touch.
But most of them you don't really touch. There's only like 3 or 4 buttons that you have to worry about per ride. And they're all simple buttons that it's like, I mean, I hate to put it in this way, even a 5-year-old can understand. Like, stop, go. I'm not going to get into specifics, but like easy terminology that someone can understand. And what's unique about our park, at least, and I haven't really seen this in any other park, they use foot pedals for power. So it feels like a stamina test to keep your foot on the pedal throughout the entire cycle. But it's easier than it looks. X-Scream ended up being one of my favorites because, well, drop tower, interacting with people, whatnot. I'll just go down the line here. My next ride that I operated was actually my least favorite. I'm going to spend less time on this because whirlwind. I'm just going to say this here. Get ready for this. Hate to be honest, but whirlwind and that piece of shit. That ride needs to be removed.
I'll say, don't go Yinzer mode on me quite yet.
Yeah, I'm not going Yinzer mode, but whirlwind is a piece of shit. I hated that ride. I hate it. Next ride.
Okay. What is
ironically, after learning my least favorite ride, I ended up learning my favorite ride, Tilt-A-Whirl. Tilt-A-Whirl is a fun one.
Probably easy.
That really got me to appreciate manual controls. Because everything is like automatic with a push of a button these days. But Tilt-A-Whirls, at least with the old school ones, is the clutch. You pull a lever.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because it feels like you're controlling a stick shift car or a tractor or whatever. It made me appreciate the old school rides a lot more because our Tilt-A-Whirl is, as of this recording, 61 years old, going into 2025. It's running great. And we have a top tier maintenance team, so that ride was always made sure to be run in the best conditions possible. So I got very acquainted with that ride very quickly, and that ended up becoming my favorite ride at the park to operate. And whenever I go into the break room and I see him at Tilt, I'm like, it's going to be a good day. I don't care if the line is overflowing and it's busy outside. I will enjoy that ride. Plus, I failed to mention this, microphone. If there's a ride with a microphone, god damn it, I'm using it. I will hype that up like a Metallica concert. I will hype you up.
Holy shit.
So Tilt-A-Whirl was my favorite, and then I ended up learning another coaster, which unfortunately this is going to suck for you viewers. Ravine Flyer 3. Not 2, 3.
Did you ever do R2?
The kiddie coaster. But again, I'm going to do the same for Tilt-A-Whirl, Ginzer Mode. That right piece of shit. Kiddie coaster, like Whirlwind, Ravine Flyer 3, sending me my weakness. I don't like working with children, no offense. It's too overwhelming for me. And the constant, you got to be on your feet with it. You basically have to be a Disney cast member at that ride.
Disney cast member.
Always got to be peachy and whatnot, and it's horrible. I can't sustain that for 9 hours. Plus, I failed to mention, they play Disney songs on that ride, and they only have 20 of them on the playlist, and it's only an hour long. So you hear the same damn song 7-8 times a day.
Pathetic.
Not to mention, I'm 6'3". I'm a huge guy.
Yeah.
Bending over for that small car, I bend like 500 times a shift. It's not fun. So that ride and then that exposed the worst of me, at least of like anger and stuff. And then my last ride I operated was Mega Vortex, our Zamperla Disco ride. That one was a fun one because, again, simple ride. I wanted to learn that since Clean Team, but it was delayed a year. But I ended up really having fun with that ride. Yeah, the weather is horrible. I'm not going to go into like weather scenarios and whatnot, but let's just say it was not the best when it came to inclement weather. But I will say this. Microphone, good music. Mega Vortex was like another Tilt-A-Whirl to me. It's a fun ride with a microphone that I could hype up the people. But again, due to inclement weather, it was not the best to operate. But I'm not going to get fully into detail about controls. Overall, I will say this to end off on the ride segment. Am I happy I did it? Absolutely. I was happy I did it. Was it for me? Probably not. And I expressed that interest to my management, and thankfully they understand and everything. So I got to give a shout out to my Lord and Savior, Kirsten Stafford. She was pretty much the anchor to the ship for the rides department, and she helped me feel comfortable. And even on my bad days, just made me feel like I was welcomed. Because people on the autism spectrum struggle to find a job. But I was so thankful to be at Waldemar for 4 years. That helped me build it to my career. So, again, I have no bad blood. I have no bad intentions. I have my season pass. I'm going to still go visit my buddies. But I'm on to new greener pastures. But I'm thankful for what I did at Waldemar to help them make forward progress.
Certainly seems like you had a fun time. That is absolutely great.
My bad days were my bad days.
Yep.
But my good days...
We all have bad days. We all have our bad days.
I'm going to say this. A bad day at Waldemar was better than a good day at my career job.
Mm-hmm. So, we're going a little quicker than I expected. So, we really get to take time for this next segment. So, we're going to kind of talk about what we did in the last episode, because a lot of people might not correlate episodes. And if you did listen to one episode or the other, if you're listening to this one now, you can kind of skip the end of his. If you already listened to his, you can skip this part. We're talking about KennyKon for a minute. Well, not really for a minute. We're talking about KennyKon for a little bit. Because KennyKon is where me and Jay met. And I actually kind of want Jay to tell the story this time because I told the story. So, actually, if you want to hear the story from Jay's perspective, hang around because here it goes. I want Jay to tell KennyKon's story.
Lead up to this, if you're comfortable sharing, lead up to why we met and how we got to KennyKon.
Okay, yeah, I probably should. So, what happened was, we We talked about our friend Drake earlier, not the rapper, a coaster guy, friend of ours.
That's the Phantom Thrills. If you're listening,
Yeah.
I bet you are.
Yes, Phantom Thrills. You're a great guy. So I stayed at his house the night before, and we woke up early because it's a lot closer from his house than mine, and we got to Kennywood at 8:15. So Drake has known Jay for a little while. I never met the guy. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know about his YouTube channel. I hadn't seen any of his content. Nothing. So then the MFer shows up. I'll always remember this, in a Baker Mayfield Cleveland Browns jersey.
For betraying you.
Because
you had to make a statement to piss off Steelers fans.
I get that, and I appreciate that, and I love those Baker Mayfield jersey because Baker Mayfield is my team's current quarterback. So like, I get that, but like, it's just funny because the guy showed up to a Kennywood event, Pittsburgh, in a Cleveland Browns jersey. And it's like fedora-ish like hat thing, and I'm like,
oh yeah, it was my sun hat, which I picked the cowboy hat.
And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I'm like, this guy's gonna be a trip. And then we met up with some other guys. So his friend Owen was there, and then two other guys, Caleb and Tyler, were also there. And we took a group picture that I wasn't in. I got cut out of it or something.
I'm still mad about that. I'm sorry.
And yeah, we'll make it up next time. And so then we're kind of hanging around for a while as we got registered, and ERT begins. And Jay, you can take it over from here.
Yeah, so I didn't know Colton prior to this trip either. I mean, I've known Drake for a couple of years, so I was just going in there to meet Drake for the first time, meet up with Owen, Caleb, and Tyler, because I've been good friends with them for quite a while. So when I got there, I saw this guy. I'm like, who the hell is this kid with funky hair and whatnot? I'm like,
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, that's my friend Colton.
My hair was bad back then. I'll find a picture if you're watching on YouTube.
I'm like, who the hell is this guy? But Colton ended up being a really cool guy at the end of the day from this visit, and I have much respect because I don't know where I'd be today with him. I mean, I'm not saying he's impactful, like he's a spiritual guide, but hey, the most unexpected things that ended up being the best things. But I'm glad I met him because I'm always open to meeting new enthusiasts and connecting with the community. And Colton just clicked somehow right away. I have no idea how or why, but it did.
We're both autistic, and we're both like outlandish and funny, is what it is. I think.
Yeah, and I think that is a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people might think that. I mean, if you are, the Michael Jordan means stop and get some help. But
yeah.
I digress. So let's talk about the actual visit here. So Saturday, August 3rd, 2024, KennyKon 35. Get in the park. I mean, I was meeting with pretty much everybody. Colton here, Drake, Owen, Caleb, Tyler, Chuck of Kennywood Crazy, him and his wife Raquel.
And then my vlog starts. I'm vlogging.
There was about 150 enthusiasts at this event, and we decided, the capacity is going to be shit on Exterminator, excuse me. Let's hit there first. So we get on Exterminator, and if you don't know what ERT is, exclusive ride time for us ACE members to ride some coasters before and or after the
park. And I will say, that was a good business decision. That was a very good business decision.
That ended up being a good decision because I've known that for my previous trips to Kennywood. That if you ever wait in the Exterminator line, you basically want to run into oncoming traffic because that line is bad. I mean, now as of like September 2024, they could run 4 people in a car now.
Oh, really?
But back then they were still doing 2 adults per car.
Mm-hmm.
So capacity was slashed in half. We ended up being one of the first trains of the day on it, so it was no biggie. We actually got, I think, 2 rides on it.
I only got 1.
And then Hurdle was also open, so I got that. And then I spent the majority of my time at Thunderbolt, the ERT. I ended up getting about 7 rides on that.
I got 11. And there's actually a picture that is now in the ACE archives of me and Jay sitting next to each other. We had known each other for about a little less than an hour. And we're riding together on Thunderbolt.
We're riding Thunderbolt in the magic seat.
Yeah, it was in the magic seat.
Like friends that we just met literally less than an hour ago at the front entrance. We're riding Thunderbolt like we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
So
that was great.
we do that, and then the park opens. Everyone's, and I'm going to quote this from my podcast. Colton started dicking around with a camera. So
I said that.
photos, and-
I was the one that
and
said that.
actually,
Because it was like,
we
oh yeah,
actually-
park opens, Phantom opens, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna go take pictures. I need stuff from my archives, and then I end up missing Phantom that day. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, and this is the thing. If you want to see that part, go to my podcast in a little bit. But I was mad. I didn't notice at first, but I ended up being super pissed because I'm like, you missed out the best coaster in Pennsylvania. Like, that's the reason to come to Kennywood, and you missed it.
I had a great day, and also I want to mention, I don't know if you was going to or not, but we missed the group picture.
Yeah.
But Drake claims to be on the train going up the lift hill, but you say you wasn't. I don't know where the hell I was. I think we was over at Skyrocket
I can't remember
or something.
because I saw the group picture and I'm like, I'm not in. I knew I wasn't down in the infield. I was not. We weren't.
No, I'd say we probably were at Skyrocket or something when that happened.
Yeah. So we ended up, bouncing around the park and whatnot, doing Skyrocket, doing the Woodies, Jackrabbit Racer, Thunderbolt,
Aero
the
360.
usual shtick here. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit to maintenance tour.
Oh wait, no. What we forgot in your podcast too was the random urge to go ride Little Phantom. We did a Little Phantom takeover.
Oh yeah, the random urge.
The Little Phantom takeover. I don't know if that's in my vlog
Oh
or
yeah, the
not.
enthusiast takeover with pretty much our entire group taking over a train.
Of Little Phantom, that was great.
And all the kids are just looking at us like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But when kids think that, enthusiasts are like, get that coaster!
Yeah.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit to the maintenance tour. So this was actually a little disappointing because we were promised a infield tour of Steel Curtain.
And Racer.
However, due to the quote-unquote construction going on, which ended up being false,
For the most
I don't know
part.
what the reason was, we weren't allowed back in the infield of Steel Curtain. So last minute, they decided, let's do a tour of the maintenance shop of Kennywood's rides, which is this little alleyway between. It looks like a parking lot. It's between the two Woodies, Racer and Jackrabbit. I mean, credit where credit is due. The maintenance tour was really cool.
It's behind the
get to see
arcade. For
restoration
those who know
Louisville,
Kennywood, for those who know Kennywood's behind the arcade.
Yeah, so you basically, and you had some awesome footage of Racer and Jackrabbit, which you and Drake actually took real good advantage of.
Mm.
But I remember being disappointed. We were looking at each other like, this is cool and all, but why couldn't we go inside the infield?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bash on anybody here. I mean, that's not my status quo, but it kind of did hit me in the heart a little bit because we were promised something, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we couldn't.
Above our pay grade.
But any maintenance tour is good. If you really want to see behind the scenes, yeah, it was good. I've never seen any behind the scenes things like Kenny.
They were building a new
yes, it was
boat for
good.
Old Mill. That was cool. The new boat for
Yeah,
Old Mill.
it was cool. But there was nothing that, shouted at me. And then we're going to go to Potato Patch now because we mentioned this in my podcast. I didn't realize
Is this
but I was
after we
actually
got
an asshole to Colton.
Is this after y'all got rained out on Spinvasion and I skipped out because I don't like that ride? Because it's uncomfortable?
No, this was the Potato Patch incident.
Oh, so this is before that, I think.
Yeah, this is where I accidentally was an asshole right at the front. So, me, Colton, Owen, and Drake, we're all eating Potato Patch. And Drake impulsively says, let's speed run Phantom.
And Jay is like,
Yeah,
all right.
so I threw my Potato Patch and I'm like, Colton, watch this. So we're running towards Phantom's Revenge.
And by the way,
Drake
you can
actually
go to
has a
Drake's
short
channel. Drake's
whatnot.
channel is a short on that, yeah. Go find that short. And if you, in that first clip of them running, I watched them film that, and I'm sitting back there, my fat ass, with 4 things Potato Patch fries, and I'm like, what the hell? You know?
I'm sorry, I was a dick.
Well,
But
hey,
we wanted to
you
ride it.
bought me ice cream after that, so.
Yeah, but we ran up to Phantom. I used my ADA. got in the middle row, and we were back in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 15:40 or something. The actual time was, and I'm
Yeah,
like, well, that was
but
quick, but
now realizing that I was an asshole.
just banning me and Owen. He's like, okay, just kind of sat
I'm
there.
like, all right, I'm abandoning you guys to go ride Phantom with Drake.
Yeah,
You should have came.
Yeah, it was, well, I didn't want. I mean, I was like, I'm not gonna leave the fries here, you know.
I mean, the fries are good, but I don't know what was Drake's idea on that. I mean, I'm sure he can comment to us later about that off camera.
Yeah.
But that was a red flag from the get-go.
I mean, I will say, like I said, it was already a great day. We eaten lunch. We had done like Noah's Ark and of course all the Woodies and pretty much every other coaster in the park that was open, at that point. And I said they kind of took off for Phantom, and I'm like, okay. I actually wasn't at all aggravated or mad or anything. I was kind of like, okay, you know, they can go have fun. I'll sit here, you know, guard my camera, guard the fries, I guess, you know. I'm not gonna. We had just started eating these fries. I'm not gonna throw them all away. We spent that was probably $60 worth of fries there. Just go take off the Phantom.
We're gonna come back and finish them.
Yeah.
And then you left for a little bit, and then I got revenge. I'm like, I'm gonna use your camera.
Well, me and Drake, then I ran off with Drake. We went and did Thunderbolt. I want to do Thunderbolt again. I'm like, okay, well, I want to go do Thunderbolt now. So then me and Drake ended up going doing Thunderbolt. It was either me and Drake or me and Owen ended up going doing Thunderbolt. And then no, it was me and Drake because you and Owen took the camera and was like recording.
Yeah, we were like, let's just mess around with this, see, because I've never used a DSLR, so I'm like,
yeah,
this is me. And the funny thing is, he actually kept it in the video.
I put it in the video because I had not seen it. I had not been told about it. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I look at it. I'm like, that's funny. I'm putting that in because my video wasn't that long anyway.
Cameo.
My video wasn't long anyway, so like I needed something else.
Yeah,
in the video.
I just wanted to do something funny just to surprise you when you got home.
Yeah, it ended up being a month or two later, I think, before I ended up seeing it. But like, yeah.
Yeah, and then dinner was absolutely trash.
Hey, I wouldn't say trash. 'Cause I don't want to crap on them too much, but like it was basic. It was like pulled pork. It was pulled pork that was kind of dry, and it was like mac and cheese that was okay.
The macaroni was dry. It was too soggy.
Chicken tenders were you know. And then they pulled the see. It was first night of Fall Fantasy. I'm gonna jump in for a minute. First night of Fall Fantasy, and they pulled out names to ride on the parade float, and I put my name in there. I ended up not getting picked, which also convinced me more to end up bailing out, which me and Drake ended up doing for weather because what we forgot to mention two things. I'll get back to it. Forgot to mention that it downpoured once while I was there, and then after I left, it downpoured again, and I missed it because I got out of town. But I'll let Jay talk about that in a minute. And then also we forgot another random urge to do you can say it, Pittsburgh Plunge. So if you want to talk about our little
yeah, because I have a guilty pleasure with shoot rides, so
they're fun. I've never done one before. I've never done one before.
And this guy brings a poncho, thinking, "Oh, I could be dry on this thing with a poncho." Well, that was the dumbest mistake of his life because you go down the drop, next thing you know, Niagara Falls is above you.
Yeah. So yeah, about that. So I had the poncho on already because it had been raining on and off for like the last like hour. So I had the poncho on because when y'all went to Road to Invasion, I threw the poncho on while I got on the ends because it started raining. So we went over to there, and I'm like, well, I'll think about taking the poncho off, and I'm like, well, no. I'm like, this poncho should help me out. I had never ridden Pittsburgh Plunge, so I'm like, okay. So we go up the lift hill, and we make that right turn, and all of a sudden it just hits me. I'm like, this poncho ain't gonna do nothing. I'm like, this thing ain't gonna do nothing. We go down that drop, and I said. We hit, boom, and you look up, and it's just water. I mean, it's just, you know, in my head, it's Amazing Grace, how sweet the...
No.
Oh!
The intro to Fade to Black plays.
Oh, yeah. No, one. Do, 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 do.
But we're all looking at each other like we're wet.
Oh, no, we're drenched.
And I'm like, let's do it again.
And I'm like, yeah. and then Drake's kind of like fine.
Kicks in, and I'm like, all right, let's do this again because why not?
We were already wet, so we went out again. Same thing happened. I kept the poncho on. I'm like, well, it's got to help me a little bit. To go around the turn. No. Woo! Amazing. Great. No. No. Do 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 do. Do do.
Yeah, so that was a impulse moment. I mean, if you see my Jackass short on my YouTube, that's kind of where it originates from. I mean, I ended up recording it 2 weeks after I went to KennyKon, but still, that's
Yeah.
kind of where the shtick came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually felt bad because yes, Colton and Drake did leave early. They had to get back home.
Well, I had to get
More
back
so-
home. Drake was fine,
More
but
so
I had to.
Colton's part. But so this is where Jay ventures on his own to go through dudes' stuff.
And Owen. Don't forget about Owen.
Oh yeah, Owen too. So it ended up downpouring again, and then we're starting F-bombing the writing policy. We're like, F this, that, blah, blah, blah. All the rides shut down. And our ERT almost gets canceled because of it. And our Lord and Savior, basically the head of Ace Western PA, Bill Leichenheimer, he's going back and forth with management see what we can do. Because, well, the park closed at 8:45.
Yeah, park closed
no
early,
getting
by
outta
the
here.
way. Park closed early because of rain.
Yeah, so KennyKon just gave up at that point. And we're in limbo because management doesn't know, Bill doesn't know. So me, Owen, and Tyler kept asking me, I mean, what are we going to do? What are we to do? So I ended up asking Bill, and he didn't know.
Did
But
Caleb
eventually, a little
leave,
bit
or was he
later, we were said we could go upside the Phantom Station and sit there.
Did Caleb leave, or did he hang out too?
Ride.
Caleb and Tyler were together, right? Were Caleb and Tyler road tripping
Yeah,
together or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're like, okay, we can be in the station, but no guarantees.
Yeah.
So we were there for like 45 minutes. And finally, they start testing it. I'm like, all right, it's ready to open. We're going to get our ERT till 10 o'clock.
Breaks down.
Psych! It went down for a mechanical issue. So we have to wait for maintenance to get there. Poor maintenance. I felt bad for them staying after hours. But the glorious maintenance team came there, fixed the ride. A couple more test cycles later, finally the ride opens for ERT. So we ended up having like 45, 50 minutes for ERT. But I got 8 rides on it during ERT, and I was more than happy to have it. So I was very satisfied. I got back to the area a little after midnight, feeling happy. But KennyKon was a very important visit for the both of us, both for the friendship and content creation. Yeah, I ended up scrapping my idea for a vlog, but that's neither here or there.
Yeah,
but
so I make the whole...
doing...
My whole end of my vlog was about the fact that Jay's vlog is going to come out soon. And then I text this guy, I'm like, hey, what happened to that vlog? Oh, I deleted all the footage. Why?
Damn it!
That was a good vlog! You could at least give me the footage. I would have uploaded it to hell. What the hell?
But I don't know. But besides of triggering you and giving you false hope, this was a good visit. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, heck yeah. That was easily...
To this day, this is the only in-person meetup we've done.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're hoping for a meetup in 2025, of course. But this was our first and only... I mean, we've done online chats. I've been in a few live streams of his, but this in-person, the very first time we met, was very important.
I go and invade his live streams on YouTube. You know, I'll like text random stuff, talk to his friends that don't like me.
He fucking donated $10 on my birthday.
Yeah, paid out for the ice cream.
That I hate to use this Alpha Sigma Lord. You just did a pro gamer move. I'm like,
it's funny
wow,
because
$10?
it's like all of your friends are in there in the live streams, and then I show up, and I'm like, hi. And it's like, you know, but then I'm just like, you know, I win the Kahoot. Yeah, so next time we meet up, you gotta give me that Millennium Force model.
Yeah. What was it? The 10th anniversary stream?
Yeah, that's...
You won that. You somehow came from behind to do this underdog win.
I do what the commander should have done.
Cut out or whatever.
I do what the commander should have done. You know.
But yeah, you basically did a Jaden Daniels against the Bears.
Yeah. Came back.
I'm like, so I owe him because I technically owe him for that, but yeah, obviously. But I'm thankful for the donation. That was a very nice gesture that I was not expecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was like, oh, birthday, and I'm like, yeah, I can super chat him. That would be fun. And what else was I gonna say? Yeah, so that's for people wondering. And am I making stuff on the spot? Kinda, yes. But the Millennium Force music at this intro, the lore is from the model because it's a Millennium Force model. The lore.
Yeah, the model I actually got from my next door neighbor like 10 years ago. He gave it to me as a gift. And I've had it for all this time. It was like one of the very first coaster merch products I have. And I'm like, I could give it to someone else that can carry that on. I don't need it. And somehow you came up in the 11th hour.
What was the other prizes? One was like a park map, right? Some like park maps or something, and then like
my buddy Riley gets the Wild Mouse cutout.
Wild Mouse cutout, that's what it was.
I mean, you were like in second or third, either that or the park maps, and then
I just turned it on it. Yeah, and it was funny. I think it was questions about you as well. So it's like it wasn't even questions about like parks. I think it was questions like about you. Yeah. And then I still ended up coming back.
Personal questions.
So it was like, these like people that have been friends with him for years are like just lost to a guy who's known him for less than 6 months. Like
what logic is that? What the hell?
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Crazy shit, am I right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so
what's next on the agenda?
What's next on our little agenda here? So I'm glad we talked about that for a while because that took up a lot of time that I was expecting it to take. So we do have some time. So we're going to talk a little bit about like we did at the end of your episode. And some 2025 and possibly 2026 adventures. So I know. So as a reminder, my episode is going to probably be coming out next week as of recording. So
yeah, it's a bit of a spoiler.
So anything that is said can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to remain silent.
Oh, damn it. This is the episode of cops at this point.
So I have read you your Miranda rights. Do you understand and comply to these rights?
I have the right to remain silent, and I appoint an attorney and subject to Colton's questions. Yes, I do agree.
And you agree to my questioning. Good. So, yeah. All right. So 2025, what do you want to talk about, like, in terms of 2025? New year.
Okay. Let's start from this. And we're actually going to start from zero. Literally. If you don't get the reference, then you're not watching my videos. But 2025 is looking like to be an interesting year for me from both a credit perspective and a video perspective because I have a lot in mind. There is a lot of I say I do it and don't do it, and that is on my end. I mean, I have apologized time and time again. And again, plans change. 25 years old. I have a career job. I have a bunch of adult stuff to do, so things do come in the way. That's life at this point, and I pretty much accepted I can't handle a set schedule. So whatever comes out, comes out. But that does not stop me from having ideas and other projects in the works. So I'll divide this by videos and by parks. Divided in two ways. On the video side of track, the podcast was something I really wanted to experiment this year. And so if you haven't seen Ride on Track, go do so. This is being recorded in January, so this will be in February. Before the third episode comes out, and then the Colton interview is the fourth episode in March. But I plan to do once a month on my podcasts throughout the year, of varying degrees of topics, interviews, etc., etc. And then the other new thing I started in 2025 is actually what I started the Fringe in 2024, right, in 60 seconds, which is my little short form content of condensing a park trip. I'm like, this is Waldemar in 60 seconds, off-season edition. Something like that. I go to a park or something. And I have a bunch planned for all the parks, and I'll get to those parks soon. But I have a bunch planned for that, and then I have a couple live streams I'm doing. This is being recorded before the Super Bowl, so any and all salt will be spilled, and if I have to ride something blindfolded, God rest my soul. So, and then after that, I have a couple construction updates for my two home parks, Waldemar and Kennywood, that I want to experiment with. Definitely Waldemar, Kennywood, I'm not sure yet. And then I have some other projects. I have obviously some vlogs I want to do, but I'll talk about in the park segment. And then I have two more things. I have a a new series, new/old series I want to bring back, and then my big project this year. So my new old series, the video that actually Colton watched that got him interested in my YouTube channel is a Redux How to Ride RF2, which for the people who know me personally, they got their start on the original How to Ride in 2017. So 7 years later, I made a Redux of that, and everyone blew up. And that's actually how we connected with the YouTube aspect. All of us watching on different phones.
We watched it on 4 different phones while waiting for Racer, which me and Jay would end up losing that race to Drake and Owen, I believe.
Yeah.
And he called he called like a butt fumble or something, and we got the ball back, and we would have won anyway.
Yeah, ref ball.
It's in my vlog. Yeah, ref ball. Ref ball. Yeah.
But I just find it funny that even in the new era, my How to Ride RF2 brought you into the fray.
Yeah.
So I plan on remaking some other popular series that I've done. I'm thinking about remaking another How to Ride Thunder River, which was another popular one that gained interest to the channel. And then I have some other Redux ideas. I want to bring back a Parking Aid episode and a Jay's Plays episode, which I never told you what Jay's Plays was. That was my Midway game series I had at Waldemar. I played the Midway games.
Oh, you're bringing back Jay's Plays?
Yeah, I'm bringing back that.
Heck yeah.
So I plan to bring some old school videos back in the new format. I did that with the How to Ride RF2. It went really well. I'm going to do that for some of my other series. And then my big project I'm working this year, if you hear that, excuse me, that is my mom vacuuming. There is a very good chance this will be spliced. She comes in here and vacuums my portion into the room.
It'll be alright. I can splice it up.
So, just a heads up. So, my big project, this is the one thing I'm not going to disclose, because will be my largest Waldemar project in history. It'll probably be my longest mainline video to date. And if you think it's a Waldemar history video, it is not. It's super secret. It's going to take the entire season. It'll be uploaded on the last day of the season at Waldemar on September 1st. But I will say this. This video will be my magnum opus for Waldemar. Basically closing my chapter of Waldemar, because yeah, I'll still do my construction updates on any new attractions, but my main Ford content is pretty much over with that park. I've pretty much done everything I wanted to do. But I have one thing that I really need to do before just doing updates. And this secret project, the code name is Hall.
Hall.
You'll have to figure the rest out. You'll have to figure that out.
Hall.
In terms of parks, this is where it gets dicey, because again, park plans can change anytime, for any reason, with or without warning. And I did not expect to do a lot in 2024. I ended up getting 40 new credits. So anything and everything is possible. In my episode, we talked about Colton living in West Virginia. Now, me in Erie, Pennsylvania, I have pretty much any good park within a 2-hour radius from me. I have multiple parks. Waldemar, Conneaut Lake Park, Six Flags Darien Lake, Niagara Amusement Park, Cedar Point, Kennywood, Idlewild, Canada's Wonderland, Del Grosso's, Seabreeze. All within a good driving distance, and then some of the wild cards like Knoebels, Kings Island, and Hershey within a 5-hour drive. Anything and anything can happen. I mean, I did Hershey Park last minute, so again, anything is possible here. But what I have written down may change that. 2025, I don't plan on doing much in terms of new parks, but I do have one big trip planned. I plan on getting to Kings Island this year. That's like the main sole new park. Because I've been trying to get to Kings Island since COVID. That never happened. Haven't been at all. That'll be the sole new park. But I do have one big trip in mind, and this is going to be where the majority of my credits come from. And I'm not going to give you the parks, but I'm going to give you the name. Mid-J-Atlantic.
Ooh.
It's a 6-park, 6-day trip. A certain section of the country, and this could get me up to 200 credits. I'm at 145 currently. I could hit 200 and surpass that. Now, there is a backup trip. I could go back to Orlando in November for IAPA and do Epic Universe, but I'm still working on that. But 2026, I haven't really planned out yet.
What I'm
I hope I
telling
get to
Jay,
200 credit,
What I'm telling,
and I hope to get there, but no guarantees.
yeah, I didn't mean to keep breaking in, but what I've been telling this MFer here is that he needs to go to Hollywood Nights with me in 2026. That's what I keep telling this guy, is that we're going to Hollywood Nights in 2026.
But I'm doing concept trips for the foreseeable future because every year since 2023, I've done a big trip to a certain part of the country. 2023 was the Jay Lanta trip. 2024 was Jay Lando.
Well, you can go.
I don't know what 2026 will be, but I mean, I was talking with my one friend. We could do Holiday World, Kentucky Kingdom, and whatnot.
Exactly.
But
You could do the Mid J West.
yeah, I could do Midwest J or some shit like
Yeah.
that. But I don't know.
Because,
I don't know.
I think I'm doing
2026 and beyond. I do not know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't either,
But at
but
least
like,
for 2025.
yeah,
I mean, at least for the local parks, yeah, I plan to go back to Waldemere, Kennywood, Cedar Point, Darien
I mean,
Lake, my 4 home parks.
I don't know for sure,
And
but
then
like, you know,
to Niagara and Seabreeze again.
yeah, I don't know for sure, but I know for sure. Well, I'm not for sure, but I would like for 2026 to do Kentucky Kingdom, Holiday World, Indiana Beach, and Great America, and then Cedar Point on
That'd
the
be
way
sick
back.
to get the Holiday World.
Yeah, and kind of make a trip out of it, you know. That would be what right there, 1, 2, 3, 4 parks, and then on the way back. Well, of course, you could do Kings Island on the way down, and then I'm gonna do Cedar Point on the way back. You know, if I do that whole big thing.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, but we could discuss that at a later day. But
Oh yeah.
this MFer is trying to get me to do Hollywood Nights, and I'm seeing no reason. But eventually, something's gonna happen.
Yeah. Either it's gonna be Hollywood Nights, or we're gonna go on some trip somewhere, or something, or I'm not even gonna be with them.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah. Because this guy, I feel like would be a fun guy to road trip with, and
2025 will kind of be like the first big road trip. I mean, in 2024, I met with my buddy Luke in Florida. It was just him and I. We didn't really drive because, well, Orlando and Tampa, that's a short distance.
Mhm.
And flying to and from, I was on my own. This year, when I do this trip, this will be my first actual road trip.
yeah.
So I need to get myself a company, but I'm sure Colton would be a fun guy to road trip with.
Mhm.
Let's just say, because I'm taking my one buddy from the rides department. I kind of told you about him, and
Yeah.
he needs a lot of credits, but I like being on the road. I like traveling,
Mhm.
so I have no issues. I don't see any issue. The last question I have for you, and we're going to end on a fun question here, because we both listen to rock and metal. We both have common interests, and our one common interest is Metallica.
Definitely, yes.
So we're going to end this on a fun note, and I hate taking charge, but I think this is a fun way to go out. Favorite Metallica song and favorite Metallica album?
Oh shoot.
I
Yeah.
know. God damn it, indeed. But
Well,
this is a fun.
definitely a fun question, and I don't get asked this question often. A lot of people know I'm a metalhead, so
Same here, but Metallica is something that we both like. It's my favorite band of all time. I've seen them
same with me. You gotta understand, and people who don't listen to Metallica like we do gotta know that 99% of Metallica's music we view as almost perfect, or somewhat.
Except Lulu.
Exactly. That's why I say
And part of
99.
Saint Anger.
99%. You know, like 2 songs from Saint Anger, Lulu, and half of Garage Inc. Besides that,
Whoa! Okay, Garage Inc. Okay, let's not go there. I mean, there are some pretty damn good covers.
I said half was bad. Half is
No.
okay. You know, half is good. Good, I should say good.
So,
We'll get into Garage Inc. in a little bit if we have.
but yeah, so let's start with album first. We got 11 albums to choose from. S&M and S&M do not count in this category.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. Master of Puppets, no. Master of Puppets is not my favorite album. Overrated is in my. I'm gonna throw that from EDP in there. Overrated is in my opinion. Okay.
I knew you weren't going to say a Master of Puppets. I know that's like the default for 80s metalheads. The thing Metallica sold out after 1991. But
Okay, yeah. Ride the Lightning, also no. A lot of people will, if it's not Masters, Ride the Lightning. But the thing is, Ride the Lightning, it's definitely a great album. It's just, I don't know. Okay.
Escape ruins it.
Yeah. Well, no, Escape's a good song, but it's like,
Oh,
no? I love Escape.
Escape just sucks.
I love Escape. That's a good ass song. It's underrated as hell.
Oh, fuck you. I hate that song.
Okay. Now, Saint Anger, obviously not. Death Magnetic, probably not.
Saint Anger's got some good songs.
Hardwired, probably not. Even Hardwired's a good album. There's a couple crappy songs on that album too.
Hardwired's in the middle of mid.
There's some crappy songs on there too. So we're left with Kill 'Em All, Justice, Black Album, Load Reload, and 72. So for a long time I said Justice. So I'm gonna keep Justice around because for a long time I used to say Justice. Black Album's good, but to me still overrated. So, but I will say, my favorite Metallica song is on that. I'll get to that in a minute. My favorite Metallica song is on the Black Album, but we'll get to that. So, I like Load better than Reload, so Reload's going out. And 72 Seasons is good, but the Metallica fan in me and just the metal fan in me wants to say you can't put the 2023 album as your favorite, in a sense. So, I kind of got to knock out 72 Seasons, even though 72 Seasons is a top 3 Metallica album. Easy.
So that leaves you with Kill Justice, Black,
and Kill Justice. No, I knocked out Black. Kill Justice and Load.
Black and Load.
So Load's going out because Load has some songs on there that I wouldn't even consider metal. But there is some good songs on there.
Me, Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie, Cure, you know. I will say, to point out some top tracks are The Outlaw Torn and...
The unencumbered version. You ever listen to the unencumbered version?
I think so. It's pretty good.
It's a minute longer. It's the extended James solo. It's awesome.
And The House That Jack Built. Those are 2 underrated tracks off that album. And so we have Kill 'Em All and Justice left. This is a difficult decision because I recently have been really heavy on early 80s thrash metal. Like, that's been my thing. I love Anthrax. I love, all that good stuff. But Justice, there's just something about Justice. There's just, them riffs just hit. I mean, them chugging riffs, I always think...
As soon as you hear the intro to Black End,
well,
there you go.
Not even the intro to Black End. The best intro on the album is Fade Into Sanity. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, no. That song is barely even played.
And so Justice is the best album Metallica ever made. Justice was, Metallica went from the death of Cliff Burton to a little bit of a high note, and they did Seattle 89, they did some good stuff.
Oh yeah, Live Shit, Binge and Purge, Seattle 89,
exactly.
San Diego 92, Mexico 93.
All up until, and then they hit Black Album, I think Justice, the popularity of Justice is why the Black Album is one of the greatest albums of all time, alongside Justice. So, like I said a minute ago, my favorite Metallica song is in the Black Album.
And it's not Enter Sandman.
It's not Sandman. It's not Sad But True. It's not Nothing Else Matters.
Let me guess. I'm going to take a guess. Wherever I May Roam.
At one time it was, when I was an early Metallica fan, but no.
Damn, that's my favorite song on the album.
It's a good one.
Alright, I'll get another one. My Friend in Misery.
As a bassist, I can respect the intro solo, but no.
Damn, what is it then? The Unforgiven?
Nope.
Oh, now we're looking at a deep cut here. Looking at a deep cut.
I'll give. If you know some Metallica lore, you would know this song was intended to be the hit of the album.
Oh, the hit.
It was supposed to be the hit of the album.
Oh, the first single of the album, Holier Than Thou.
Yeah. Holier than thou you are. I don't know that just that.
Oh yeah, that was supposed to be the first single.
Yeah. You are you, no, not the.
Anytime. That's an interesting pick.
Yeah, I know it is, but like I used to not really be big on it, but then I've been listening to it more recently. I'm like, damn, that's a good song. You know, because it's probably the thrashiest song on that album.
Right.
You know, that and through the never is probably the thrashiest songs on that album.
That's another thrashy one.
Yeah, just turning it through the never.
So I'll go with mine now. I'll highlight as we go favorite song by album too. So I'm getting rid of Kill 'Em All right off the bat.
Oh man,
I felt like that felt too. I don't know. It just felt not that great in my opinion. The Four Horsemen is my favorite part of the album.
So too much Megadeth.
There's too much Megadeth on it. I mean, I hate to put the classic Metallica versus Megadeth thing, but there wasn't much creativity on that album. And then I'm gonna get rid of Saint Anger as well. Even though Invisible Kid is my favorite track on the album. I know it's a drop B flat, but
mine's the unnamed feeling.
Yeah, that one's a good one though. I have to get rid of. I'm gonna get rid of Reload. A little bit weaker, but Fuel is my favorite on that.
Give me food, give me fire, give me
Let's see, what else am I gonna get rid of? I'm gonna have to get rid of Hardwired. The front half of the album is good, you know, Hardwired.
Hardwired through Halo on Fire.
And Halo. And then all that's good on the back of the album is Spit.
Yeah, Spit and Murder 1.
Spit and Lords of Summer, actually.
Lords of Summer was like a bonus track.
Yeah, but I have to include Lords of Summer.
Oh yeah, it's a good song. But you did a parody of Murder 1.
Oh, we are not talking about One Ride. No, goddamn.
Now when I hear that song, I think of One Ride.
One Ride. No, I am not doing that.
I need a copy of that video.
So my favorite song is on 72. But I'm getting rid of that album. Like you said, I hate to put it, but recency bias kind of plays a role.
I have a story about 72 Seasons to tell you after this.
Yeah, we'll make that quick. But my favorite song's off 72, but it's not my favorite. Yes, recency bias puts me high rank in regard, but
yeah,
we're gonna have to get rid of that. Let's see what else. I'm gonna have to get rid of Ride the Lightning, even though that album is stacked back to front, except Skate. My favorite is Creeping Death.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
That album.
Well, actually, mine might be From the Bell Tolls. I can play From the Bell Tolls on bass, so like.
I have to get rid of Justice. I'm sorry.
I understand. The
lack of bass. Hurts me. Rank that higher, but one is an all-time classic, as well as Blackened and Dyer's Eve.
Oh, Dyer's Eve's underrated.
I have to get rid of Master of Puppets too, unfortunately. However, my favorite on that one is a very weird one. It's Disposable Heroes.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, definitely.
That thing's a fucking banger. Even the 4D version they did during COVID was awesome.
No, yeah, you said Disposable Heroes. That's a good one. Mine is probably Leper Messiah.
Yeah, but Disposable is in my top 5 favorite songs of all time.
Oh yeah.
From them. And I have to get rid of Load. So unfortunately,
so your favorite album is the Black Album. Your favorite album is the Black Album, then?
No, I have to get rid of Load. I mean, Ain't My Bitch.
Yeah,
the Day.
That game. The solo in Ain't My Bitch is probably one of the best shows they ever did.
Wasting My Hate.
Yeah, that's
Outlaw Torn, Leading Me. Good stuff. So the only albums that I have left is Black Album and Death Magnetic.
I swear to God. If you prefer Unforgiven 3...
Black Album is great. Yes, technically they did sold out, I hate to say it, but it was their pick in the mainstream. I respect it. Some damn good songs on there. Nothing Else Matters, Wherever I May Roam, My Friend in Misery.
I have just met a motherfucker whose favorite album is Death Magnetic.
I
It's a good
hate
album.
to say this.
It's a
the album that really speaks. It kind of got me, and it was the album that got me into Metallica.
It's a good ass album. It's a good album.
Death Magnetic.
There's some good songs on there. That Was Just Your
I know,
Life.
overcompressed as hell. I know, this motherfucker says Death Magnetic, but I'm only going to say this. Why? That album got me into Metallica.
Yeah, which is why I give respect to Hardwired. But, like, I will say That Was Just Your Life.
Redemption, and my number 2 favorite song of all time, All Nightmare Long.
Oh, yeah. That riff. Look.
That riff is fucking heavy. And it's good.
But
note I said number 2 favorite song, because my favorite song that stuck with me, and if you Bread fans know my channel, you know where this is going. Inamorata.
Oh.
Inamorata, my favorite song of all time by Metallica is
a good
Inamorata.
song.
I know recency bias comes into play, but Inamorata has spoken a lot of words to me, in both as personal, and it's just an emotional trip. It's like the fastest 11 minutes I've ever listened to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's a different type of Metallica song they never really did. I mean, it's standard tuning, but it's in the key of C sharp, which they never really did before or after. So this is a unique tuning sequence. And if you've listened to 72, it's a frictionless album. There's very little time to rest. Everything's in your face from minute 1 to minute 77. Within the 5-minute mark, you get a interlude walking bass solo and the only clean guitar part in the entire album. Mm-hmm. And that's why that song sticks out so much, because that little interlude section where it says she needs me but I need her more.
I'd say I know Metallica. Metallica's talking about doing another album, but if Metallica were to never do another album, Inamorata being, if you were listening,
it's a damn good closing song.
Yeah, if you were to listen to Metallica in consecutive order from Hit the Lights to Inamorata, that would be a good ending.
I think, and I hate to put this in channel perspective, but Lux Eterna Inamorata is the way to do the Metallica song cycle.
Mm-hmm. But I will say,
again, Lux Eterna is like, Kill 'Em All thrash. That's kind of where it starts. And then Hit the Lights, but Inamorata is the good way out.
Yeah.
It's the song I always play on my way out of Waldemar.
Mm-hmm. Now...
but again, that song just hits harder. So what's your story on 72 before we wrap up?
I don't want to say that. I'll tell you what I was going to say about that part later. But you know how people always say where you were for 9/11? Like,
Are we ending the podcast on a dark note?
No. This gets happier. But I wasn't going to say it, and I'm going to say it. People say where we were for 9/11. My question is, where were you when Lux Eterna dropped? Because I can tell you exactly where I was when Lux Eterna dropped.
Walked out of my dorm.
Walking out of your dorm? I'll tell you where I was. I was in the middle of fucking math class. I was in the middle... Shout out to Miss Ratchford. I was in the middle of Mrs. Ratchford's second and third period math class. And she's a great teacher, but I don't know what the hell we was doing. Probably, I don't think she was instructing, but I was dicking around on my phone. Notification pops up from Metallica, and it says
Lux Eterna official music video. Like, what?
And I look at that, and I'm like, huh. What the fuck? And then, I that trend, the fuck? Like, I did that. I was like, the fuck? And then I clicked on it.
Next thing you know, like, we thought, Metallica's dicking around or something. Because they never told us an album was coming.
Well, only thing was Lars Ulrich said, I'm going on Howard Stern at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So after I realized that, I'm like, oh shit. But like, yeah, but so anyway, yeah, they debuted it on Howard Stern. But anyway, so I'm in math class. And then I have like an earbud in, and I hear that like, and then I hear, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I audibly said, oh my god, and my friend Tyler next to me, he's like, what? I'm like, at this point I'm shaking. I'm like, fucking Metallica dropped the single out of nowhere.
Dropped the song.
And I was shaking for 2 hours straight. I get to English class, and my friend Simon's like, what's wrong? I'm like, Metallica's dropping an album. Holy shit! Like, we had to...
I was so excited. I'm locked out of my dorm, and then when I got back in my dorm, I'm like, What?
Because the song they dropped was incredible, and I'm
Song
listening to
just
the
blindly
song.
dropped, and I'm like, holy shit! New album, new tour, new everything.
And then you listen to the song, and it's like real fast. And then I'll tell you the part that lit me up is that first chorus. Loxy turn. And I'm like, oh! I'm like,
that double bass, and I'm like,
I was,
they are back.
I was traveled to a different time and space. Loxy turn.
It hit, and
I'm still living
I
off
can,
the high of seeing them in concert. I'm still living off
yeah,
that
same
high.
here.
So like, but the funny thing is, I kind of predicted this. I told my dad. I said Metallica's doing these like couple little shows. I'm like, why are they doing these little shows around the country, like in like certain parts of the country? I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna do some big tour or album tour or something coming up that Pittsburgh ain't going to be a part of. But look what happened. Pittsburgh, North Buffalo are part of this big M72 tour yet.
They were part of that North America 2022 tour.
That's what I mean. They were part of the North America 2022 tour, which it wasn't really a tour because they announced like
it was Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was like South America tours, and then they was like, oh, we're coming to Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So my dad got tickets to see him in Pittsburgh. That's when I went.
Yeah, and I convinced my uncle to go see them in Buffalo.
Yeah, Metallica concerts are always great.
Yeah, and then I was there for the 72 Seasons screening.
Oh, I wanted to go to that.
I'll tell you more after the podcast, but man, I was at the screening for that, and that thing lit me up.
It's funny. Sometimes I've been forgetting we were on a podcast. Let's just talking.
And sometimes that's how the podcast ends. We forget we're on a podcast. Yeah. God damn it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, we've been on here for an hour and a half now, so I'd say we're gonna wrap up this show a little bit. So Jay, I'd like to thank you for coming on.
If you want to find me on social media, I'm Jay Zemanek on Instagram, InsaneCoasterJunkie on YouTube. You can follow my podcast on Spotify, which is called Ride on Track. So that's where you can find me. Yep. And I'm just going to end it the way I normally end my videos. Lux Eterna, Inamorata, from zero.
Thank you, Jay. And thank you to the listeners and viewers on YouTube for listening and watching this podcast. I'm very excited to be back doing this podcast. I'm going to be getting more episodes out soon. I'm going to try to do these about every 2 weeks or so. And from me, I guess I can say, just keep on riding and don't let the thrill stop you. And we'll talk sometime. See ya.